Her husband is a venture capitalist who works with PUD, who developed Blippi. She wanted an ability to know what her best customers were buying every day so that she could serve her customers better. And that was the impulse behind Blippi. By sharing your customer, your purchases, that when you walk into a store, everything starts with the best intentions, but that's the intention behind it.
I have to say, Skynet was one of the greatest
again,
inventions.
but Safeway has your purchases, you know.
Yeah.
Safeway knows.
Safeway knows a week. Okay.
I just keep
Well,
coming
it's just
back
not
to
public.
this, you know, to some of this kind of
Safeway database
So
is
let's,
in
anyway.
public.
yeah, I mean, we're moving back to privacy issues, probably.
So, gentlemen, your question.
I did actually, going back to the point of you don't get anything back when you do the geolocation for Twitter. You get a modicum of credibility to that. There was, I can think back to when all the violence was happening in Iran, you had so much information that was claiming to be there, not necessarily meaning just because someone was in that location, what they were saying is true, but you could filter at least a little bit better through what could be true and what was definitely false.
It increases accountability of the data.
And that's where I was going with Twitter. Hasn't yet given us back a lot of goodness. If they turn on really good search and good maps, and somebody just this week turned on a map using the Twitter API to show where tweets near you have been made.
There was one of those 3 years ago.
But this is much more accurate today because of the API. Twitter Vision was a granular thing. I belonged in Halfman Bay. You didn't know where I was. Now you know exactly where I'm tweeting from. If I'm tweeting from the Safeway, you can see that on the map. It's amazing.
I mean, I'm just looking at Tweety 2 on the iPhone, and I just click the nearby thing, and it's going to show me stuff on a map right now. Well, actually, it just shows me America, but anyway. Here we are, zooming in. Has anyone around here said anything interesting? Anyway. Crap. My brain has just gone completely quiet. No, actually, no. I think, quite seriously, Twitter in 6 months. I'm so excited about Twitter at the moment in this respect. I think 6 months from now, if you can go to Twitter and say, I want to see what people are talking about in any neighborhood around the country, I want to see what people, you know, what trending topics are trending, where They just turn that on to the location.
Exactly.
You know, this is going to be. I mean, like that bit where it can go like, you know, who's talking, like a map of the US with the presidential candidates on it. Who's talking about which areas are talking about the most? That's entirely achievable. You know, like we're so close to that kind of thing. And then the ability to do local searches against stuff. You know, what are people saying about this, you know, brand here or this TV program here versus somewhere else? I think that's going to be huge. And I think that part of it, being part of that discussion is going to be an incentive for people, you know, like.
So the Netflix rentals by zip code map that the New York Times did 2 weeks ago, so that. That was interesting. It was really interesting to play around with it. But again, it's interesting because Netflix has to mail you stuff, so you get an accurate zip code.
I mean, if the question, what you're basically saying is, couldn't people just lie? And of course,
No,
people could just lie.
I'm saying
why would they?
you need the feedback loop, which is what we always said at the beginning. We need the feedback loop where I'm getting value for doing this. Okay, I'll do it. I will send my location to Google in real time because it's telling you where to turn left.
Yeah.
That's helpful to me, and I'm comfortable with that.
But then, you know, people put things on Twitter not because like Twitter pays the money or gives them some utility, except that they get to talk to people and share stuff with them. So the assumption partly here is that this is another piece of information that people might want to share with other people. And that's useful.
So I think this goes exactly to when I made my little comment about Twitter. This goes into that exact sphere of we've started reaching this point where, you know, it becomes harder and harder to say why we're doing something. And I think, you know, we were talking, we chatted a little bit before the panel.
Well, we're a lot of whys now, that's the thing.
Well, hold on.
We're starting to see the whys.
I think we're starting to see the whys, and I think out there they're not yet seeing the whys by a long shot. And there's lots more data that sustains that argument. So before this thing not being a user of Foursquare and Geo-Local, etc., I spent a good chunk of the day just picking random cities, just looking at what kind of activity was happening in public. And it goes way down when you leave a couple of major metro areas, like way down to the zeros.
That's why it's so important, like that new deal that Foursquare just signed with Bravo, where, you know, they're latching onto these hot shows, and you'll be able to check in places that, you know, characters go to or whatever in these real shows, and get coupons at those places. So that gives you an incentive to do that, and, you know,
So all of location-based services in Twitter are good for getting coupons.
No, I mean,